Hello, thank you so much for watching another video. And I also want to thank you for filling out the survey that I emailed to you. If you haven't filled the survey out, please do so. It will give me fantastic information. And in fact, I've already taken information from the surveys that have been completed. And something that I'm adjusting is that it seems that many people are more comfortable just emailing me directly your questions. So what I'll do is I'll keep the Google document running. So if you've been visiting the Google document, please visit it. That has been a fantastic way to communicate. And now, if you have not been visiting the Google document and you're more comfortable with emailing, please email me all your questions that you might have about one of the past videos, about today's video, hope of a video that you would like me to make. So the surveys are for you, and meaning they're for you to let me know what it is that you're hoping for to get out of this online session. So thank you so much. So today's video will be addressing something that was mentioned in the Google documents. So it was mentioned to me that sometimes it's very difficult to find the right books to use in the read alouds to then refer back to teach our standards. So I kept our standards in mind, and I kept my simple acronym in mind, and I looked through some of my books, and I decided what I would do is refer back to A Chair for My Mother by Vera Williams, because I am trying to show you my thinking of how I can use a book over and over again to teach my students, and they really start to look at books and examine books through different lens, whether it be through a reader's lens or whether it be through a writer's lens. And so I focused on ways that I might use A Chair for My Mother in teaching writing. And I looked through the standards, and I just chose 4 standards that I looked through the book and saw things that I would use to teach, and then I matched them to the standards. So for instance, one of the standards in language arts is for standard, it's 134.1. So for infant 1, it says sentences must match pictures. And this book does an amazing job of the pictures matching what the words say. So I might use this book right here to show how the pictures match perfectly what the words are saying. And so this page in particular, I might zoom in on this page and maybe a couple other pages, but I might just say this page in particular. Look at this gorgeous, gorgeous picture of this chair, and then illuminate to my students. Yes, a chair, wonderful, beautiful, big, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. So, in my opinion, referring back to this page, I see this as a great teaching opportunity inside of this book. So then another standard that I see inside of this book is standard 3. So it would be for standard 3, 3411, include short dialogue items in story writing. So if I want to help my students to use dialogue in their writing, this is a great book, and it says short items. So this book is not all dialogue, and in fact it's written in the first person, which is another standard that I'll mention in a minute. But this author does a great job of using dialogue when it's just right. So for instance, I would show to my students, probably go back to the first page, and in this first page, it actually is the cover, and it is showing the little girl who the story is we know about. But it says here, I love this first page because it's her thinking. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too. I wash the salts and peppers and fill the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. I love how Vera Williams uses dialogue. right here in this story because it's just the right moment. When I hear that, when I hear the boss say to her, "Good work, honey," it makes me feel like I'm part of the story. It helps me to know what is happening right there at that moment in that setting with those characters. And dialogue does that. Dialogue puts us right into the story. So here on this page, when she uses dialogue, Vera Williams, the author, I feel like someone is saying to me, "Good work, honey, way to go." It was a perfect use of dialogue, and illuminating that to our students through this book is very useful. And so another standard is on this same page, and I wouldn't teach all of this in the same day. I just want to say that. I'm just sharing with you for teacher to teacher how I might use this book across 4 days of lessons. So another day I would come back to the book and I might refer to the same first page but for a different teaching point. So for Standard 43413, it talks about understanding using first or third person when writing stories. This is a wonderful example of first person. And I might read to my students here, "My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school, sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job too." So I would illuminate to my students when we are reading I, when we are writing I, and it's sharing what is going on inside of our minds, that's first person. And another key to that too, I would connect maybe to a dialogue lesson and say, when there is dialogue used many times, it is because we want to hear what the other people are thinking. And when it's written in first person, I only know the one person who's telling the story, his or her thoughts, and I have to use dialogue to know what the other people are thinking. So here, when Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me, I know that Josephine is speaking to the writer of the story. So again, I would use this book another day to possibly teach first person writing. So another lesson that I might use this book would be for Standard 6, 34, 23, and stories with detailed descriptions of settings and characters. And I would pull this book out and refer back because I've already read it, so I can go right to the page. We know the story together. And I might remind the students, "Oh, you remember the end of this book? Oh, it was such a wonderful story." And something that I love that the writer did so well is that the descriptions of the setting and the characters were fantastic. That's something this writer does well. And do you remember on the end in this page? Now listen, close your eyes and listen and hear how the writer gets the setting just right and the character, what the characters are thinking, doing. So it says, "We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn out the light if I fall asleep in her lap." So, this is a great opportunity to teach perfect descriptions. I feel like I'm right there in their apartment. I feel that I can see her reach right up and turn out the light when it gets so late. So, I'm answering a comment that was made in the Google Documents, and it's a real issue that we all have as teachers, that we know what standards we have to teach and we want to engage our students, and we need to have the right resources. And something that I have experienced this year is that I don't have as many books maybe as some of my teacher friends who have been in the same school for the last 10 years and they keep collecting. So this was my first year at this school, and although I have a lot of books, I've given away some across the years and I don't have as many. And so what I have really found is to keep going back to the same books. And I can use A Chair for My Mother all year long. and I can go and I can illuminate not only reading lessons but writing lessons, and I can really teach those standards that I'm supposed to teach, thinking of my individual students who might love this book. And that is one reason why I use this book. Not only do I love it, but my students love this story. And so going back to it, they don't mind, and they see the book through many different angles as I'm meeting all those different standards. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for that comment on the Google Documents that helped me to create this video. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. So thanks again. I appreciate it.